Hey, Kia ora whānau, you saw the live this morning, you saw what happened, you saw the chaos that was happening, you saw the aggression that was happening, you saw the brutality that was happening, and you saw the last link we just shared. Now that was on Portaloo film, and bro, could you tell us what happened on your side?
Okay, in the morning, about 6 o'clock, we got a call to hold the line. We ran up to Kate Shepherd Street that runs along there. There were a few cops and about the same amount of protesters. I stayed around there for a few minutes and I heard that up Molesworth Street there were more cops arriving. So I ran around there with a few of my friends from my tent. When we got there was at least 30 officers and only about 20 protesters. We were trying to get them to pull back and form a line a bit further back, but they wouldn't. So a white car came driving up and hit its brakes and made a little skid. Didn't actually hit any of the officers as far as I could see, and then they surrounded that car, and while we were all looking at the car, they smashed the windows in, all 4 windows for just one person in the car, to distract us. While that was happening, I looked over, and in the quad to the right of where that car was, they were forming up with riot shields and about 40 officers. I started pulling back. I called to the people in the front saying, we've got to hold the line further back. There's riot police here, and the riot police, as soon as I said that, started running around our line and running down towards our portaloos. So myself and about 6 other individuals, men, ran back to Hill Street where our portaloos were. One officer ended up falling on the ground just before the portaloos. So I stopped right there and I put my arms out and said, link up to protect the officer, because he was on the ground prone. About 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds later, a group of 8 officers with riot shields arrived on the scene. I had only managed to bind to one young man at that stage who also got arrested with me, and I'd like to put a shout out to that 17-year-old. He was brave, he was real brave, and he ended up being arrested with me. We held for only a few seconds and they pushed me back and they said fall back, and I fell back until I could feel the portaloo right behind me, and I said, this is as far as I can go. We've fallen back, we've followed your commands, go easy with the shields, guys. And when that happened, the senior sergeant, I believe his badge number was X653, he waded in 2 left-hand hooks to my eye here, uncalled for. So I pulled out my phone and started filming and basically trying to take as many numbers as possible. When that happened, the 2 guys that were pushing back on me, who seemed like nice guys, nice officers, they were just following orders. They weren't trying to hurt me, they were just pushing me back with the shields and holding me there. They parted and this senior sergeant came forward and he did 2 uppercuts to my rather sizable belly, which didn't hurt very much, obviously. Then, and you've probably all seen the footage by this stage because there was a lot of footage by the time that happened. They closed up, they pushed me back. I had lost the person that was bound to me on the right, and I was by myself right at the edge of the portaloos. The senior sergeant once again came in. He threw a number of punches at my head, and then he used his 2 thumbs to gouge my eyes. And by that stage I had taken 5 to 7 hits, I'd had my eyes gouged, and I'm sorry guys, I'm here for peace, but I had to charge them, otherwise I was just going to get absolutely destroyed against those portaloos. So I charged them, I pushed through, and when I pushed through they basically threw me to the ground. They pinned my hand underneath me, I lost my phone. One of the officers picked up my phone. It's been filmed by other people. They have not returned my phone, they stole my phone. because they know I use Twitter to get my message out, and while I'm not very popular on Twitter, I know a lot of popular people and they get my message to many thousands of people. So that's what happened from my point of view. You can confirm that there's a lot of video evidence, and I've seen it, and I know that's what happened from everybody's point of view. It's not just a one-way thing. We were here for freedom. I wasn't trying to hurt the police. I was attacked. I was assaulted. I want to put a shout out to Sue Gray, who is representing me, and we're seeking to have that officer head up on assault charges, and also we're seeking to put a complaint into the Police Complaints Authority. I just want everybody to know it's not all police. All those police are just doing their job. You don't need to hassle them about doing their job. They've got families to feed. They've got mortgages to pay. They don't want to be here. 10 of them quit today. 10 of them quit because of what happened to me and other people there. So that's what I've heard, 10. So if you understand that those people have to support families and everything, and they're still willing to quit because they know what's happening is wrong, that makes you understand that there's a wealth of passion on both sides. They don't want to hurt us if they can, you know, and we don't want to hurt them. We're here for peace. We're here to end the mandates. We're here to get rid of the Public Health Reform Act and those emergency powers that come with it. We must get rid of those. They're not for anyone, not for Labour. If National wins next election, not for National, not for ACT, not for anyone. Emergency powers are very special. They shouldn't be given out willy-nilly, and they shouldn't be used to promote mandates and to promote things that are damaging to the health of our people. Honestly, we're here for everyone, and you may just think of us as a few thousand people, a few thousand crackpots, anti-vaxxers. Look, I'm double vaxxed. I sit in a tent with boosted people, double vaxxed people, people who have no vaccinations at all. We talk together. We're all about freedom. Freedom to choose. If you believe that a woman has freedom to choose to have an abortion and to have freedom of bodily autonomy, you believe in freedom to choose anything about what goes in your body. All I can say is, hey, there's two sides to every story, but our side is actually the right side. Our side is freedom. Our side is about New Zealand. 2 years ago, we had that freedom. 2 years. In 2 years, that freedom has completely eroded, and it's not about COVID. It is not about COVID, not with so few people dead of COVID. Just the stats, you know, the flu was taking out about 500 people a year. COVID, 29 people a year. It's not as destructive as they say. What is destructive is destroying our economy. 70% of Auckland businesses may die this year. 70%. Auckland's our biggest city. Wellington, we're losing businesses by the day. Come on, we need to get rid of this.
Right. And what happened today? We think that the police were trying to tip the Portaloos over, so it would flood down with sewage and then it would be closed down.
Can I just advise you of that? In the morning, in the early hours of the morning at 4:30, my tent mate, we call him Fubar Phil because we're both Phils. I'm Portaloo Phil. As you may have guessed, there's a good reason for that name now. He was intercepted coming into the barricades after dropping off a friend at her motel to protect her and make sure she was safe. He was charged with 2 counts of assaulting a policeman. They could not tell him when these assaults occurred, where these assaults occurred. They took him and detained him until 10 AM, and then they went after me, and as soon as they got me, they pulled back. It was about our tent, because our tent has 4 big guys who are always on the front line protecting people, and they targeted us because of what happened on Featherston Street when we pushed them back on Saturday, and what happened on the Cenotaph when we pushed them back on Sunday, and it was our group that did that. But we only pushed them back when they charged us. And we stood our ground. We pushed them back and then we stood our ground. Now other people then got in front of us and kept on following the police. I don't condone that. We stand our ground. We're not attacking the police. We're here defending our people. And our people have the right to protest. And protests are disruptive. You can't take away that from a protest. A protest has to annoy people. And what I want to say to everybody out there is one thing. Contact your MP. I don't care if your MP is National, Labour, ACT, Green. I don't care if you support New Zealand First or the Conservative Party. Contact your MP, your representative, by phone, by email, by normal mail, and say, if you are supportive of us, tell them you're supportive of us. If we can get 1 million people to say, we support this, that is an election changing movement. So get out there and tell them you support us, because they think that we're a tiny fringe minority, and I think there's 30% of us in New Zealand at least that support freedom. There might be even more than 50% that remember what New Zealand was like 2 years, 24 months ago.
Everybody here has got 10 other people out there.
Exactly, and you know, hey, just be good to each other. Love and peace to you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, Whānau, I was up on the front line this morning. I was riding between the police and the front line, and I walked past you a few times. I was riding from their car that came down and supposedly tried to run everyone down. Now that was staged. I want to make that go on the record. That was staged. I watched the guy slow down. I watched the cop move apart well before he got there, and I watched him smile as they were trying to get into the car. And I was right in front of the car with the camera. I was also got you at the Portaloo. I was right beside you. I've got him getting his eyes gouged out. I've got him getting pulled to the ground. So go back and watch those live footages. That verifies what this brother was saying, Whānau, because what they did this morning was unprecedented, and it was unprovoked, and it was just a pure sign of brutality and force that was unnecessary. And this is the result of it, Whānau. This is the result of it. As innocent people are getting hurt, innocent people are getting charged because we've got them in a stalemate. We are at a stalemate now. We're head to head, and using a stalemate, one concedes. We're not conceding. No. They're not conceding. So dirty drastics, dirty measures are being instilled.
Not by us.
And if you watch the way they're going, Whānau, when you're on the front line yesterday at the other side there, I picked out 5 people that were infiltrating the line. They were aggravating things. They were stirring it up. I got them on live video and I screenshotted them and I gave it to security. Because those guys are going to help us lose this battle.
Yeah. The guy who let off the fireworks, my friend, the guy that they arrested, Fubar Phil, he got a picture of him. We blew it up. He's got an earpiece in. They said he's deaf. Now, we were talking to that guy when he was released less than 2 hours later, and my friend who just walked by, in fact, Glenn, he turned his head and he said, bless the Father. And when he said that, the supposed deaf dude who couldn't see his lips and couldn't hear him did the cross on him. He heard him, he wasn't deaf, that was an earpiece, he was a plant. And he's got a dark black beard and these funny looking glasses, and if you look at just about everybody with a beard of his age, his moustache is lighter than his beard. Everybody else, moustache is much darker than your beard. And that's just a fact, you know. So we know he was faking, we know he was dressed up, and he had an earpiece in, which he didn't have 2 hours later.
So we got to be mindful, Whānau. If you're down here, be awake, be aware of what's going around you. If you're coming down here, if you're watching online, there's a lot more going on down there. You've got to be here to feel the energy. You've got to be here to feel the emotional shift. You got to be here to feel the anger, the frustration, the sadness, the joy, the love, the hate. You've got to be here in person, but also remind us, right amongst everyone here, we have infiltrators, we have undercovers, and we have people that are sitting in here right now that are ready to pounce and drop us on the inside. So, go. Thank you, brother. Thank you for sharing your story. And this, brother, is one of many stories that are happening here. The battle ain't over yet. The battle has just begun. It's heating up. But we've got releases up here. Time for you to take time out for yourself, meditate, and let stuff, because we've got a long way to go. We've got a long way to go. They're not going to give up, and they're not going to give up what they try to do with us. But we're not going to give up. We're here for a reason. Whānau, ko rangi taku ingo, a mana news live, mana truth, ka kite anō, muri ora.